Hello students, hope all of you are doing well in this lockdown 3.0, and currently we are doing the online teaching and learning session. So we shall continue this session for the remaining course curriculum to complete our syllabus through this online mode. And in the last lecture we have discussed about the computer graphics, about the transformation of using the 3D coordinate. We have seen how transformation works in 3D coordinate, and we have also embedded the homogeneous coordinate into it and saw the effects. Now we are moving to the last module of the syllabus, where we are going to discuss about different kind of curves, different types of Z transformation, projections, and miscellaneous topics we are going to be covered. So let's start. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the curves in computer graphics. Actually, this is the last module of our syllabus, where we are going to see miscellaneous topics, which is going to include these different types of curves, and then we are going to talk about different types of color shading models, and also the Z transformation, the ray tracing method, etc. So this is a bit of combination of all of the important topics when we are moving towards the hardcore part of the computer graphics, because whatever so far we have discussed previously about the transformation and all of the algorithms was the basic, only the tip of the iceberg, you can say. Okay, so today we are starting with the curves topic in computer graphics. So, as an introduction, obviously, all of you should know that in computer graphics, curve plays a major role, because whenever we are drawing a polygon or any straight line, there is no problem. We just have to move from one point to another point. But whenever we have to draw different kind of shapes, let's say that we have to draw an oval, or let's say we have to draw an amoeba kind of shape. In that cases, curve are going to play a major role. So in those cases, we are not relying on the line drawing, or let's say the circle drawing or ellipse drawing, or even the different polygon drawing algorithms also. We have to rely on the curve. How can we generate the curves based on the input we are getting? So, as a definition, you can say that curve is an infinitely large set of points where each point has two neighbors except the endpoint. So, basically, for any kind of line, you can say this definition, that it is a large set of points, and each point has two neighbors. So, obviously, if each point is going to have two neighbors, in that way, it is going to continue, right? So that is the basic idea of the curve. For any kind of straight line, any kind of line, you can apply that definition. So whenever we are talking about types of curves in computer graphics, we have to know that there are three type of curves in computer graphics. One is explicit, one is implicit, and another is parametric curve. Obviously there are other types of curve which won't come under this classification. Those curves will be the computer graphics. Okay, so let's first of all start with the implicit curve. Implicit curve is a curve where you are getting an implicit function of x comma y, and you are setting it to 0, and based on that value you can draw the curve, or let's say you can identify the points on which will be lying on the curve. Or alternatively, you can say that you can generate the points, consecutive points, and generating the consecutive points you can draw that particular implicit curve. So for example, we know that for a circle, the equation is basically r square is equals to x square plus y square. Okay, so whenever we are doing x square plus y square minus r square, it is automatically becoming 0. So this is actually your function of xy, and using this function of xy, you can obviously identify the points that are going to be lying on that particular circle. Okay, so that is how implicit curve works. That There are set of points given and there is an implicit function given. You just have to identify that if that point is lying on the curve or not. And also the multivalued curves multiply for multivalued curves, multiple y values for an x value is there. So that is the basis of implicit curve. You are having an implicit function, you are having the points, you can just test it, or alternatively you can draw that curve. For explicit curve, what is going to happen? You are going to have a y equals to fx function. Previously we had function of xy. Now you are going to have y equals to fx function. Now next what you are going to do is you are going to plot the points and then you are going to see the curve, what the curve is going to look like. So you are only going to have the mathematical function of y equals to fx. You are going to have either of this value. Either you are going to have the value of x or either you are going to have the value of y. Now if you are having a value of these things, you can obviously get the another. So for let's say for an example, you can say that y is equals to x square. Okay, so whenever it is 1, we are getting 1 comma 1. Whenever x's value is 2, we are getting 2 comma 4. When it is 3, we are getting 3 comma 9. So using this, you can obviously build up the curve of, you can obviously choose these 3 points, 1 comma 1, 2 comma 4, and let's say 3 comma 9. Let's say it is over here. So the curve will look like this. It can work, the implicit curve work, sorry, the explicit curve is going to work. So for, remember, for implicit curve the particular curve function is going to be given, and for explicit curve a mathematical function will be given using which you can identify the points. Out of these points one value will be given, either x value or y value will be given, because even if this 149 was given, you would have been able to identify the values of the x. Okay, that is how it is working. Now the important part is the parametric curve, where the curves are having a parametric form is called the parametric curves. Basically this is the basic definition, but the main difference between parametric with implicit and explicit is it is not depending on any particular equation or any particular function. That means if we are talking about a coordinate where only x and y is there, that means 2D coordinate, the x value can be one thing and y value can be completely another thing. So based on those x and y values, you are going to build up that curve. So for example, let's take this example that where x is given as t square and y is given as 2t. Okay, so that is actually wrong a little bit. This is actually function of t and this is actually g of t. So whatever we are getting is the values of x and values of y. Now whenever I am applying -2, I am getting 4. For xt and for yt I am getting -4. Whenever I am applying -1, I am getting 1 and -2. Whenever I am applying 0 for t, I am getting x as 0, y as 0. Similarly, I am getting 1 and 2 and 4 and 4 for the rest of the points. So based on these values, I can draw this curve, which is going to look like this. Okay. So the parametric curve is basically you are going to have totally independent type of function for both of the points, which is going to be which is going to contain maybe similar variable, and based on the values of the variable you are going to get the points of x and y, and based on that x and y point you can obviously draw that parametric curve. Yeah, now the important part, or where the curve representation finally gets interesting or relevant to our computer graphics subject, is the Bezier curves. So in case of Bezier curve, actually it was discovered by the French engineer Pierre Bezier, and it is named after him. Okay, so the basic concept between this Bezier curve is it is going to have some kind of control points. Now, what is a control point? Obviously, by the term, you can identify that what is actually control point. The points that are going to control your curve. That means your curve might have one starting point and one ending point. that doesn't mean that it is going to have two control points. It can have multiple control points, which is ultimately going to work on that curve or how it is going to represent. So these are the called the control points. Whenever in the later lectures we are going to look at the spline curves or B-spline curves, in those cases you are also going to see that control points are also going to play a vital role there. Obviously, there are going to be other features and other factors, but these control points is one of the key highlights in the computer graphics curves. Okay, because these are the basically the parameters that are going to control how your curve is going to look like. So if this is a coordinate, and if your curve is looking like this, that means somewhere here and somewhere here and somewhere here and somewhere here there are four control points. Okay, let's say this is P1, P2, P3 and P4, and the interpolation between these control points are actually helping to build this Bezier curve. So what is actually we are getting, this is actually a straight line, but what you are getting is a polynomial line. So in this cases the polynomial function is going to come into play, and that polynomial function is the Bernstein polynomial. Okay, so the Bernstein polynomial equation is given by this expression. Now how we are getting this expression, I am going to talk about it in a little bit later, but first of all you have to keep in mind that uh, Bezier curve is going to have one and two control points, basically the starting point and the ending point. Minimum it can have two control points, and regardless of the other features, the Bezier curve is going to start with the same control point, and it is going to end with the same control point. That means the curve might look like this, the curve may look like this, but always they are going to be P1 and P4. Okay, so this P2, P3 may get changed for different kind of Bezier curves, or whenever the control point or the functions are getting changed, but the initial value and the last value is not going to be changed. So we are going to learn about more of these Bezier curve features, but let's talk about how these Bezier curves are, or how the concept of the Bezier curve came into play. So, whenever we are talking about Bezier curve, as I said in the previous example, that Bezier curve is going to have some control points, and basically, whenever we are looking at the control points, you can just connect them, and you are going to get some straight lines, right? So basically, you are going to get some linear lines. So let's assume for the first case, we are going to have two points, and we are just connecting them, not any using any parametric or polynomial curve, just connecting them from one point to another point. So let's say this is P0 is 0. Okay, let me just change the ink color. Let's say P0 is 0 and P1 is 1. So the linear function for this one is going to have L0t is equals to 1 minus t P0 plus t P1. Now where we are getting this from? This linear function, obviously you are going to that is a little bit stupid question, because this is basically the linear, how the linear function is going to come into play, right? um, Basically we are getting this value from that particular am equals to sorry, y equals to mx plus c, and from that y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So basically what this L01 is, we are calculating the value of P. So P1 minus P0 is going to be the value of TP1 minus TP0, and if you put this on this side, you are going to get this value, right? And this is actually the value of this thing. So that is how we are getting this. But let's keep us aside, because we already know this from our previous knowledge. This is the basic, whatever we have discussed, whatever we have studied in our numerical methods already, it is already there. So let's start from here. So L0t's value or linear function was like this. So whenever there are going to be a quadratic equation, or sorry, quadratic line or quadratic Bezier curve, how it is going to come into play? Let's say there are 3 points P0, P1 and P2. So I have first of all manually connected them using a straight line. then I am going to see that how this Bezier curve is going to work. So for linear case, we are going to have similarly L1t equals to the same thing, 1 minus t p1 plus tp2. Now whenever we are talking about the quadratic part, it is going to look like this, right? Because again the same concept, it is going to come into play. So whenever there are now we are having this now we are having basically this q0t, which is which is basically the same thing. How we got this equation, we are getting this equation also, but here instead of p0 and p1 we are considering the linear equation of them, that is l0t and l1t. Okay, so that is how we are getting. Now if I further simplify this equation and put the actual values of L0 and L1 over here and here, I am going to get this equation. Okay, so if you look at the particular Bezier curve function, or let's say Bernstein polynomial, you are going to see that these two look pretty much similar to each other if you generalize the total expression. For cubic Bezier curve also, cubic means they are going to be four control points. So P0 to just let me just erase it. So from P0 to P1, and then we are going to P2, and then finally we are coming to P3. So this is how it is going to be controlled using the control points. Okay. And in this case also similarly for the quadratic equation, we got that particular q0. Now we are going to get the q1t similarly. How we got this particular equation, similarly we are going to get this equation, and the value of q0 and q1, if I put it, I am going to get this particular expression. And using these two expression, or even counting these expression into the total thing, you can see that it is going to build up into that particular Bezier function, or Bernstein polynomial that we already discussed. Okay, see this, it is actually looking like this, and the Bezier curve is going to look like this. So that is the total explanation how the mathematics is working. So finally, the properties of the Bezier curves, that they generally follow the shape of the control polygon. Obviously, it is going to be following the shape of the polygon, but it is going to use the control points. They always pass through the first and last control points. As I said in uh, one of the previous points, that no matter what it is going to look like, it is always going to pass through first and last. You can see that in these three examples there is P0, and the first and the last control point is not changing, but the intermediate control points are only changing. Okay, they are contained in the convex hull of the defining control point. Okay, so this is the convex hull, always it is the convex hull. You can see this one. The degree of the polynomial is 1 less than the number of the defining polygon point. As I have said in the previous example, that whenever there are 2 points, they are going to be, the polynomials are going to be P0 and P1. When there are 3 points, so in that case it is going to be P0, P1 and P2. So in this case we had L0, in this case we had Q0, but we had L0 and L1 both. So three control points means two um, curve segment, or degree of the polynomial, and if the control points is 4, then the degree is 1 less, that is 3. That is what we have seen so far. In the first case, we have seen that the degree of this thing was to the power 1, but we had 2 points. In the second case, we have seen that 1 minus t square, and in the third case, we saw that 1 minus t whole to the power cube. But in this case, we had 4 points, we had 3 points in this case, and in this case, we had 2 points. So always it is going to be one less. The degree is going to be one less than the number of control points are there. This is the same as the first point. Direction of the tangent vector at the vector determined by the first and last. As I said, the vector determined in the first and last segment is always going to be important. Convex also discussed. No straight line intersects a Bezier curve more than times than it intersects the control polygon. So you can see that if it intersects the mm, it has intersected one time and it has intersected one time over here and here, so it is going to intersect just those two times. They are invariant under an affine transformation. Obviously, if the curvature is changing, that means the shape of the particular object is getting changed. So that is the basic concept behind the affine transformation. So it is not, affine transformation is not anyway going to affect the uh, transformation of using a Bezier curve. Even in some cases, we are going to see that this Bezier curve or spline curve are going to build up their own affine transformation or non-rigid transformations. Bezier curves exhibit global control, means moving a control point alters the shape of the whole curve. Obviously, if you move the control point from here to here, it is going to affect this. Maybe it will get like this, or maybe it is going, because the amount of interpolation is going to be changed from P0 to P1 and P2. Okay. A given Bezier curve can be subdivided at a point t equals to c0, two Bezier segments which join together at the point of the. So this is whatever basically I have said previously, that whenever you are joining two straight lines, you are getting one Bezier curves. Okay, so that is how it is working. So that was it for the concept of the Bezier curve. We shall explore more whenever we are discussing the spline curves. For now, this was the basic concept of the curve representation and how Bezier curve is working, the mathematics of it. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about the spline curves and also going to look at the control points and knots and other features of the spline curves and how it is relevant to the Bezier curve. What is the difference between these two curves? And finally, we are moving to the other topics to complete our syllabus. Thank you for watching. If you have any question, please ask me in the via call or text. Stay safe, stay at home. Catch you in the next one. Bye.